missing someone.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all. Welcome to our online panel discussion. On today's discussion, we will be discussing on compulsive buying disorder. My name is NORSYARAH binti BAKERI as the moderator for today's discussion. And now, let me introduce you to our panelists. Our first panelist is a psychiatrist, Ms. FARISHA binti Muhammad AZAM. Secondly, Ms. Nurul Husna binti ZAINI, Ministry of Finance. Thirdly, Ms. ILYANA binti HAZIMAN as a representative among celebrities. And lastly, Ms. HAMIZAH binti ABDULLAH, a former victim of compulsive buying disorder. So, according to my knowledge about compulsive buying disorder, it has been estimated to affect from 2 to 8% of the general adult population in the US to 80 to 95% of those affected are female. Onset occurs in the late teens or early 20s, and the disorder is generally chronic. The disorder occurs worldwide, mainly in developed countries with market-based economies, and it tends to run in family with mood disorder and substance abuse. So, moving on to my first question toward Ms. AZRA FARISHA. As a psychiatrist, can you tell us how can you detect a person with compulsive buying disorder?
All right. Thank you to the moderator, Ms. NASUHA binti Al-Bakri. So that I'm here to share with you how can we detect a person with CBD. A person that with CBD can easily be detected by their characteristics such as typically resisting the purchase of unneeded items, financial difficulties because of uncontrolled shopping, preoccupation with shopping for unneeded items, problem at work, school or home because of uncontrolled shopping, spending a great deal of time doing research on coveted items or shopping for unneeded items. CBD is frequently comorbid with mood, anxiety, substance abuse, and eating disorder. People who score highly on compulsive buying scale tend to understand their feeling fully and have low tolerance for unpleasant psychological states such as negative moods. Compulsive buying disorder usually mainly affected young people, such as several reports put in that most interviewers reported to be in the range of 17 until 19 years old. The phenomenon of compulsive buying tends to affect women rather than men. These tendencies include a constant need to consume, personal dependence, and also an affinity to lack of sense of control over self-behavior. Additionally, the individual ailing from this disorder are often in the second decade to fourth decade of their life and exhibit mannerism akin to neurotic personality. And additionally, the individual ailing from this disorder are often in the second decade to fourth decade of their life and exhibit mannerism akin to neurotic personality and impulse control disorder. Compulsive buying is not limited to people who spend beyond their means. It also includes people who spend an inordinate amount of time shopping or who chronically think about buying things but never purchase them.
To my understanding, CBD can be detected by many characteristics that a person can possess. As for this major disorder, what kind of treatment that you recommend for assessing psychology of CBD's victim?
Actually, there is no standard treatment for compulsive buying disorder, but group cognitive behavioral model, symptomizing, and psychopharmacological treatment are being actively studied. The best possible treatment for CBD is through cognitive behavioral therapy. They suggest that a patient first be evaluated for psychiatric comorbidity, especially with depression, so that appropriate pharmacological treatment can be instituted. Their research indicate that patients who receive cognitive behavioral therapy over 10 weeks had reduced episode of compulsive buying and spent less time shopping as opposite to patients who did not receive this treatment. The pharmacological treatment and studies have written about the question of the use of drug on CB. They declare that few controlled studies have assessed the effect of pharmacological treatment on compulsive buying, and none have shown any medication to be effective. Additionally, they hold that the treatment of the disorder are required to provide a certain reflection of the context in which the phenomenon manifests. Lastly, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor may be useful in the treatment of CBD.
I'm sure that sooner or later, a treatment for this disorder will be found. But for now, I think cognitive behavioral therapy is a good baby step to help victims of CBD. For my third question, in your opinion, is it true that people with associated disorder are more likely to have compulsive buying disorder?
All right. For me, is it true that those with associated disorders such as anxiety, depression, and poor impulse control are particularly likely to be attempting to treat symptoms of low self-esteem through compulsive shopping? Others, perfectionism, general impulsiveness, and compulsiveness, dishonesty, and insecurity and the need to gain control have also been linked to the disorder. The differentiate CBD from healthy shopping is the compulsive, the destructive and chronic nature of the buying, where shopping can be a positive route to self-expression. In excess, it represents a dangerous trait. However, object that such psychological explanation for compulsive buying do not apply to all people with CBD.
I agree with your statement, Ms. AZRA. As for a person who's been affected with CBD, could you tell us how you became a compulsive buying disorder victim, Ms. HAMIZAH?
Thanks for the question. I am very glad to share that I became CBD victim because I grew up poor. I inherited a faulty money blueprint from my parents. They didn't know how to handle money effectively, so they couldn't teach me how to. I entered adulthood with many of the same bad habits that they had when I was a kid. I was a compulsive spender, for instance. I had shopping addiction. It became worse when I was stressed because I feel like I need to buy something that I like to comfort myself. Even if that time I don't need it, I still buy it. There is this one time I bought a baby clothes set and baby's shoes because I think it would look cute. Even though I know that I don't have any nephews or nieces coming. I had no willpower or no impulse control. Even when I had no money in the bank, I still found ways to spend. I took on over 20,000 ringgit in credit cards debt before I turned 25. But nowadays, I mostly have my spending under control.
It must be hard to restrict yourself from buying unnecessary stuff. As I heard, Ms. HAMIZAH already took on over 20,000 ringgit in her credit card debt. A question for Ms. Husna. Why do you think compulsive buying disorder connects to debt?
Thank you for the moderator. For me, because it was observed that compulsive buying was positively related to debt in many ways. As Ms. Hamizah already said, there is no willpower and no impulse control to not buy most of the things we see. This characteristic will lead into having a debt with bank, companies and a person. Uncontrollable buying will cause a person to become bankrupt even when she or he is a CEO of a company. No matter how rich you are, when you are spending too much money on something unnecessary, it will lead to a debt. Compulsive buying disorder is not only a major problem towards the consumer, it also affects the bank company because consumers tend to take loans and use it for a personal use, which is very wrong. So in conclusion to my answer, compulsive buying is a deadly path and can lead you to a life filled with debts and people will searching for you all the time.
It is clearly stated that CBD connects to debt in a negative way. I'm sure most people are curious about the connection between debt and consumerism. So, can you explain more detail about excessive debt and how can it affect consumerism?
It is assumed that excessive spending is mediated only by using credit cards. Excessive spending, which is determined as money spent by the average of people with middle income after they meet necessary of your life. It will affect consumerism because of uncontrollable usage of credit cards on some unnecessary things, which leads to an excessive debt. This happens when your credit card reaches its limit. The bank companies will block their credit card and will completely disable the credit card. It is assumed that excessive spending is mediated only by using credit cards. Excessive spending, which is determined as money spent by the average of people with middle income after they meet necessary of their life. It will affect consumerism because of controllable usage of credit cards on some unnecessary things, which lead to an excessive debt. This happens when their credit card reach its limit. The bank companies will block their credit card and will completely disable the credit card. In the end, consumer will need to pay an over limit fee, and if they cannot pay the fee by the time given, the debt cost will increase from time to time, making it much harder to pay. By that time, it's not only the consumer but also the bank company will have a problem. So I can conclude that excessive debt can cause stress in consumer life and can affect their mental health. And consumer also should be more careful when using their credit cards to avoid having a debt.
To sum it up, over exceeding buying will lead to having a debt and also danger to the consumer's life because of poor mental health and stress. To my next question, I'm asking why do you think compulsive buying disorder are most affected by teenagers and female?
Okay, as the question asks, as the former victim of compulsive buying disorder, I would say that the younger generation is becoming more fashionable, tech savvy, and highly ambitious in acquiring new things in life. There is an irresistible urge to purchase different fashion products despite adverse consequences for their personal, social, and occupational lives, including financial debt. With age of onset starting in late teens or early 20s, the condition is quite chronic. Some researchers report that there is higher prevalence of compulsive shopping in women due to lower levels of serotonin. These women tend to shop compulsively, binge eating, or exhibit kleptomania. In addition, compulsive shoppers have been shown to have significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, binge eating, and compulsive control disorder. Furthermore, it was realized that the growing internet addiction can also be positively related to compulsive buying disorder. It will lead people, mostly teenagers, to find their fate with CBD. Also, the ways females see things are different from male. It can also be a reason why CBD is affected by females more than male.
It is true that teenagers nowadays are more likely to stay in trend and spend hundreds to thousands of money. It is really hard to keep our money on track when we see something that catches our attention. May I ask, how do you fight your addiction?
Other than going to the therapist to get my cognitive behavior therapy, I force myself to make conscious decision about what I purchase. I keep telling myself, if I really need it, then only I would buy it. Having said that, I know if I relax for even a moment, I will be right back in my old habits. So, to keep myself from buying all the things, I would carry cash only. I don't use any credit card or debit card anymore. Then, I will track every penny that I have spent because you may not even be aware of how much you're spending. I use this application called Spending Tracker on my phone to, as it is convenient to jot down all our expenses. Lastly, I would avoid temptation. The best way to keep from spending is to avoid situations that tempt you to spend in the first place. If your weaknesses is outfits and clothes, stay out of boutiques and shopping malls. Also, the hardest thing as we're facing MCO during this COVID-19 season is to avoid using online shopping applications such as Lazada and Shopee. I would advise to strictly avoid using them unless there is no way of getting out from your house to get your groceries and etc. Thank you.
It is a good way to fight your addiction when you are already addicted so much to it. I'm hoping that everyone could follow your steps. Moving on to our next question. The celebrity compulsive buying disorder is caused by envy toward each other.
As a celebrity, I admit that most of us are involved in compulsive buying disorder caused by envy. Being a celebrity, it feels like the pressure to look perfect every time when going outside, especially when there is an award ceremony. Most celebrities will earn plenty of money to hire the best fashion designer for making them the most perfect, glamorous, and expensive dress. Celebrities are being competitive against each other to get a better look. They will be insecure if others are looking more good than them. Nowadays, most celebrities are having a social media account like Instagram. With the access they have, they can see other celebrities' pictures and what they are wearing. Furthermore, the lighting and filters make their outfits even more appealing and they got millions of likes on Instagram. And they feel envious and wanted to dress like them or much better and tend to get even more likes. They went shopping and booked some genuine brand like Prada, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton. Sometimes they even do not mind spending their money over and over just to get that perfect look. Female celebrity in particular rather spend a lot of money on makeup. They put in a lot of effort to be beautiful than other celebrities, even though they are prettier without makeup. They also do some face treatment that cost about 1,000 of money. I can conclude that almost everything that other celebrities wear or have look intimidating and the urge of wanting to have it cannot be stopped.
Envy is a feeling that most people are afraid of, even me. It can cause a lot of chaos in a person. So, my last question for today, what do you think are the consequences of the compulsive buying disorder that most celebrity has to face?
I think most of the consequences that celebrities have faced are bankruptcy. Sometimes this is the result of a too lavish lifestyle. They cannot control the wish to buy more things. They earn exorbitant amounts of cash on fancy things. It's all part of the perk of being famous. And they post their pictures on social media wearing some genuine brand and expensive jewelry. When they keep doing this, most people will think that they like to show off. They will get tons of hate comments. It also may lead to the celebrity getting more haters, and of course, it will affect their career. They might not be getting an offer to act in a movie or drama, so they will not get paid. It also may lead to the celebrity getting more haters, and of course, it will affect their career. They might not be getting an offer to act in a movie or drama, so they will not get paid and will easily get themselves into debt. When that gets completely out of control, it is necessary to declare bankruptcy. For the married celebrity, their relationship may also suffer. They may end up getting divorced and family had pulled apart. In a nutshell, if the urge to shop becomes uncontrollable and constantly spending too much, you may need help from friends, family, or a supportive treatment program to keep the compulsive buying.
Bankruptcy is not a good thing at all. You have a lot of debt to repay and a lot of letter going in your mailbox. So to conclude today's discussion, compulsive buying disorder needs to be prevented and needs more attention from people around the world. Lots of countries are struggling to maintain their money management with CBD. I hope that our discussion today will be a helpful information to each of our viewers. And to keep reminding you to always save your money and do not spend it on something unnecessary. That's all for today. A big thank you towards all the panelists and thank you for spending your time today.
Hello geng, hello. Kenapa ramai orang nak check masa ni?
Sedap.
HAMIZAH. Tahu lah aku. Dia HAMIZAH. It is as simple.
Firstly, we